Hey, how you guys doing? So this is Neil from masterpaintingnow.com, and I'm about to do a live painting for you guys here. We're doing an abstract painting today. For those that don't already have my Bob Ross brushes, you want to want to kind of follow along with me, then therefore PaintStorm. PaintStorm right now is only $20. You own it for life, so that's awesome. Amazing software. I love it. I don't make anything from promoting them. I just love the software. That's what I use to do my Bob Ross type paintings. I also use it for my abstract paintings because it has an awesome set of brushes that you can use for abstract painting. So yeah, definitely check that out. Anyway, so here we go. You go to subscribe for free lessons to get those free brushes. I'm also going to be uploading, I'm going to be working on more abstract brushes as well and uploading those to there. And then also I have my regular paint brushes that I'll be using as well that I upload to there. But I'll be using a mix of both of those. But anyway, I'll be uploading more brushes soon, hopefully. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. But my Bob Ross brushes are absolutely amazing. So PaintStorm, I'm going to go ahead and open a new file here. I'm going to go with we're going to go with inches. I'm going to go with like 11 by 16 because I want it to be a little bit more wide. I'm going to do a widescreen. I'm going to do 100 DPI. This isn't going to be for print. Well, maybe it could be for print. Not a really big print, but yeah, I can definitely print something out for that. And basically what I'm thinking of here is I want the painting to have this kind of Civil War kind of feeling to it, but it's got to be abstract. So I have a general idea of the feeling I want to convey. That's all I go into with abstract, is the feeling I want to convey. And so with the Civil War, I think I want to use some, colors from that time. The North wore kind of like darker blue upper body shirts and jackets and like lighter blue pants, and then the South wore more tanner colors. So first I'm going to start out with my sky brush here. There we go. Let me make sure how big this goes. Oh yeah, it definitely goes big. I could probably make this a little bit bigger even. Right now I'm at 100 DPI. I could probably go a little bit bigger DPI. I think this is fine. So I'm going to go with kind of a bluish, kind of gray, something like this for the background. Like I said, I have a general idea for the feeling I want, and that's usually all I need is to know the general feeling I want to go for. Now right away, to start getting some abstract shapes, I can go right into my abstract brush and start getting abstract shapes. You can do the mountain brush, you can do the awesome brush. There's actually a lot of brushes in this you can do to start achieving what would be kind of like, well, that's my awesome blender. I'm at my foam brush. So you can do something like this. This is good to like start to get some basic shapes down. And I'm just going to kind of go back and forth here and get some basic sky shapes here. Just an idea of kind of what I want here. So most of my abstracts, I don't just do straight shapes. I know that a lot of abstract artists, it's just all about just literally looking like absolutely nothing. If you have any questions during this live stream, feel free to ask me questions. Any questions at all that you might have. So I like to start with something like that, just something that gets me going and has like a feel about it. I'm going to go here with a kind of a darker color here. Something like that. I kind of like that color. I like these colors together. So actually the Soldiers Civil War colors are kind of neat colors in of themselves. They kind of lend, like so far I'm using South colors right now, and then I can add more blue to this to get some North colors in there. So I'm trying to get a general feel, general idea of kind of what I want it to feel like. Maybe a little bit more blue here. Then I'll start coming in with my more abstract brush. This is actually a good brush for abstract, actually. Something like so. I definitely want kind of like a looming cloud feeling up top, so I'm going to go with something like this here for the clouds. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to kind of go with almost like, I don't know, stormy feeling. I kind of want that kind of stormy feeling up here. And again, this is just the first quick, laying in some ideas. Just thinking about shapes here. you still think about the principle of art though when you're doing abstract. Abstract isn't just, I mean, you can make abstract wherever you want it to be, but good abstract that I've seen out there, you know, professional abstract artists and really good abstract isn't just a bunch of random shapes. You know, there's principles there. The fundamentals of painting principles are still being used in that situation. So they're still thinking about the overall shapes and how the shapes are related together and how the colors related together. So there's still things you're thinking about. You're not just going completely abstract. I mean, it is, but it's not just like random, you know? Even the ones that are like triangles and squares and stuff, how all those colors and everything and shapes relate, good abstract is always like that. Okay, so I kind of like that. I'm going to go to my abstract brush here now. Let's start adding some interesting kind of play back and forth with some of this. I want to add some more clear shapes and streaks and stuff, so I like that shape is nice. Again, so this is where I start, you know, really playing around with the actual shapes and colors. I want to get some nice texture and stuff. I like a lot of texture in abstract. To me, that's one of my favorite things about abstract is the texture. So I want to make sure I get a good amount of texture in here. Then then I'll start, you know, getting some details of different things. I definitely want some details in here. I like that. That's nice. And there's other brushes too. Some of the brushes I really like using in PaintStorm for abstract are found in the flat brushes. So definitely check those out. There's a lot of good options. I like this brush. This is a good brush to get started with a lot of shapes, and then I'll start kind of like, you know, pulling up shapes like this, like actual. There we go. Just gonna kind of walk through my thought process as I go. If you have any questions as I go along the way, feel free to ask them. So I want kind of, there we go. I don't know if I like that shape. What's good about digital is it's really easy to, you know, change stuff. So if you just feel like I don't really like how that's looking, you can easily go in and change it. And so the goal here is to have an idea, a feeling that I want to convey, but at the same time, I don't want to get too, you know, if I start conveying that imagery too much, then it'll start to lose its abstract feeling. So I got to make sure that I keep just the overall feeling that I want to convey in the painting, but try not to tell that story too much, because if you tell the story too much, it starts to not look like a painting anymore. And I think I might add some of this dark, just kind of gray blue down here. I like how it mixes with that brown, looks kind of good. And then I might do kind of a more, I want some red in it. That's some nice shapes. Okay, so go to these brushes here. They're the, I don't know if any of these, let me see how this works. That's kind of interesting brush. Kind of like that shape right there too. I'm going to go with even darker. Let's see here, that's kind of, I don't really like that. I'm going to kind of, no, I don't really like that. Alright, let me see here, where's the flat brushes? Some of these brushes are nice too, these rolling brushes. Some of these make some interesting marks. Definitely worth playing around with some of these just to see what kind of marks you can get with them. Like that's some interesting design right there. I don't know if you can see that. It's very subtle. Let me go ahead and add some. See that? The design it leaves? But if you do subtle colors, then it's a really subtle thing that happens. Where you just see a little bit of, actually it's too much. There we go. I do like that little bit of texture back there, it's nice. Anyway, what I'm looking for though, I wanted to go to is the flat bristle brushes. These are really nice. These add a lot of interesting shapes. Like I like that one, for example. Dirty Impasto usually has some nice smeary effects. So if you want to add a little bit of, smear in here, you can just keep picking up color and just kind of add that and just kind of smear it around and make some nice shapes, as you can see there. Looks like kind of like, like oil, how oil smears. That looks cool. Let's see. I like this one too. This one's nice. It adds very subtle. This is good for sky and stuff because it's much more subtle, the texture, but it adds a nice smear. So I can go really bright, like here, for example. You see that nice smear it has? It has a nice. And you gotta load it each time. So this is a loading brush, so you can kind of make a mark and you can kind of blur some of it out. And let's see here. I like this one too. This Rake brush. This is nice. Just to add a couple, rake type textures in here, like that. Might add some more up here in the sky. So again, when I'm doing this, I am thinking overall about something. Like it's like I'm thinking about like a war type scene or something. So it's not like I'm just thinking about nothing at all. I have some ideas in my head, but I still want it to feel abstract overall. But I want it to kind of read as something. So I'm still going for that. I'm still like, okay, what is this? What is this going to read as? I want it to read as something. So definitely mess around with a lot of these brushes, practice and see what these different brushes do. I really like these ones. They have some nice textures and stuff, nice things they leave. So something like that. I like this so far. I like kind of like the chaos. It kind of reads like a sky, something with chaos in it. But see, I don't want it to look too much like a sky. So I don't want it to read. I don't want it to read too much like those are storm clouds or something. I want it to have that kind of feeling, but not really read too much like what it is I'm thinking about. This brush is interesting. It adds like two different textures or something. Like if I grab this white color, you see that? That's like kind of white. But if I kind of pull it sideways sometimes, it kind of adds more than one. Like that, see that? If you kind of go like that, it kind of picks up the other color. Let me see over here. It's kind of interesting. I like that. I like that one. That one's nice. Alright, cool. So, I don't know about that. I'm just debating how much. I don't want too much chaos there. This one's kind of neat too. Adds some interesting knife work there. See this one? That one's kind of cool. I'm gonna go back to my brushes for a second. I like my abstract brush that I made. It's really nice. I eventually plan on tweaking a lot of these and making a whole set of abstract brushes. I really kind of want this to feel like light bleeding through right here. So I think I'm going to kind of work that feeling here more. So I want this to all kind of be chaotic like I had it. So I like that. Maybe we'll go a little bit darker on some of this. Some darker up here. A little bit darker. Just a few spots here and there. I just want it to be, want more contrast. So I'm trying to add some of that contrast feeling in there. Kind of go over that. There we go. And then I want this right here. There we go. I want some brightness right here, as if sky or something is peeking through a little bit of the sun right there. Maybe I'm debating how far down that should go. I wonder if it should go down here like that. Kind of like that. Add a little bit of, oops, that's too much. That looks pretty cool. So I kind of want this, I always thought like I always see the Confederates more as like red, and then the North more as blue. So I'm kind of adding that idea into here. So I think that's a good basis, a good foundation. Then I want to start. Then I start thinking about like more minor details and minor brushwork and shapes and things, like little minor things I can do. After I see like the whole picture starting to come together, then I start focusing on more minor details and things I can add, and to get the overall feeling that I'm looking for. Let's see if anyone's. I'm watching the chat here, so if anyone wants to ask questions, feel free to do that. I might also do a quick snow scene, Bob Ross style, in this live stream. We'll see what happens. Because abstracts you can typically get done pretty quickly. I definitely want to convey this idea of like Confederacy and the Union more. Let me go and get a shout out. Live painting on Facebook real quick. Most people never come anyway, just thought I'd go ahead and throw it out there. Alright, there we go. Looks like everything is working good. I think I can pause that there so it doesn't mess up my thing. Alright, cool. So one of the things that somewhere right around here, maybe I can start adding this shape. I'm going to go ahead and make this brush smaller. So something I'm thinking about is like, what if I have, I think the North had this kind of blue flag, and what if I just kind of represent that shape like a loose shape of a flag like this. I know they had this kind of like blue flag, so I can kind of represent it with a loose shape like this. Maybe come down with a pole or something like that. And I think it had an eagle or something on it, something that was like grayish in color. So we just kind of represent a couple of colors here like that. Maybe kind of highlight this side of it. Maybe even take some of that color right there and just kind of highlight a little bit of this side like that. That's too much. Just a little line, something to indicate that it stands out. I kind of like that. I might actually add a little bit of that kind of gray around it so it kind of stands out more. Like so. Then we can kind of represent, like, what if we represent the soldiers as this kind of like darker blue color. We can just kind of represent them like that. Their upper body was kind of like that darker blue color. Just add like a cool random shape that doesn't have to look like a soldier. That's not the point. And I think they had like blue pants, like light blue pants. So you just like represent the shape. Just something that looks cool. You're just going for cool shape, cool movement. I wonder if he should be a loose representation of maybe holding. Kind of like that. Maybe some shadow right here. Just some shapes, you know, like you don't have to. The goal is you're not trying to look like anything in particular, just kind of cool shapes. And I was thinking about the Confederate flag over here. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get rid of some of that. Kind of get some of these shapes back that I had there going before. Make this brush a little bit bigger. I just want to get rid of some of this here. Just trying to think how. Let's add some of this back into the ground. There we go. Some darker back in there as well. Okay, I like that. That's nice. And then maybe do something similar, but you know, they had more of their flag was mostly red. And so maybe kind of represent that basic shape. And right now I'm just going for something that looks cool. I'm thinking about shape that I like. You know, it looks nice, looks interesting. I'm not trying to represent anything that looks like a flag necessarily. I'm more going for what's a nice shape that can kind of, if you use your imagination maybe. And so I'm basically, when I do like something like this, I'm trying not to think of a precise shape. I'm trying not to, paint or that exact thing. Instead, I'm thinking more about the feeling it conveys. So I know it kind of has that X in it, so that kind of conveys that feeling. And then they wore like tan, so I can go with something like this, and we can like represent some shapes over here. And I think that they either wore the light blue pants as well, or sometimes they wore like, I think, a darker tan pants. So go even smaller with this brush. We can actually add a few different abstract shapes here that kind of represent movement and war. That's kind of what I'm thinking of here. In fact, that's the only thing I'm really thinking about right now, is the feeling. That kind of has a feeling of movement and war to me. Then I'm going to try to do the same thing over here. And now all the shapes I do right now are all going to be about, some of them will be very abstract, like some kind of triangle shapes, some kind of more lion shapes, some kind of more, square shapes and things like that. But the feeling, I wanted to convey this like movement, this kind of war feeling. I might add a little bit of red. Also, I think they wore gold, so I might want to add just a little touches of gold in here, which also is neat because it adds to the overall feeling. Maybe add just to kind of balance it out. Add a little bit of that color over there, just a couple of red spots, things that are happening. And I can take that blue color and add a little bit of blue over here. Just a few things to kind of balance the painting out. And see how it's not really reading like anything in particular, but it still has a feeling to it. I like that. Okay. I'm going to add some of this movement and feeling into the sky over here and over here with this kind of lighter color. Also, I think it needs to add some of this dark color too. It needs some more contrasting pieces over here. Maybe kind of some nice marks. Take this lighter color now, I'm just kind of mix it here and there to kind of get some depth and feeling over there. And another idea I had in my mind was like this juxtaposition of shapes, of like rectangles or something, where one is kind of overcoming the other. And so I thought maybe I can do that somewhere, maybe on the ground here, kind of have this like blue, like this, just a couple blue shapes like that, kind of working over maybe some white as well. Come back with blue again. Just some individual shapes like that, and then come back with this red and have don't know if I like that though. Yeah, I don't know. In my head, in my imagination, when I woke up this morning, and This was kind of in my dream as I was waking up. And I'm trying to convey that feeling I had. It was like I was doing this, I was actually, in my dream, I was actually painting a painting. And the painting was really, really abstract, a lot of squares and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to really reproduce that because it felt neat in the dream, but like when I woke up and started thinking about it, I'm like, I don't think that'd make that interesting of a painting. But the feeling that it conveyed in the dream, I'm like, I think I can convey that feeling. And so that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to convey the feeling I had in the dream while painting that painting. The feeling that the painting gave to me in the dream. Now I'm trying to reproduce that feeling. And I find a lot of abstract really cool is all these little tiny variants of shapes and textures you have within stuff. So over here within the cloud and sky, that's kind of what this is representing to me is like cloud and sky. Just tiny little variants of shape and texture against each other can really add an interesting thing. And then, you notice how the sky is all kind of horizontal like this. But watch, let me go back over here. I'll show what I mean. All the sky here is kind of horizontal, but then I can add this vertical movement to it at an angle to kind of make it look like a storm or something. Like, see all this movement is like back and forth, kind of like a war is what I'm thinking here. Like this and this are moving into each other. It kind of has this swooping kind of feel. And then in the sky, I can kind of juxtapose that by having vertical movement. And in this case, it's kind of slanted down to make it look like rain or something, or storm. So I'm going to go back to my brushes here and see what brushes come with this software. I need to definitely make more abstract brushes for sure though. You can even come through like that with some kind of smear brushes. This is kind of not so much texture, it's more smear. But that adds some interesting feeling to some of this. Is kind of like that. I don't know, that might be too much. There we go, just a little bit. Let me try these other brushes, see what they do. Oh yeah, this one's interesting. That adds an interesting smear too. These are the different round brushes. That's kind of cool. So it's like ink almost. It's called watercolor, but it's more like ink to me. That's too strong though. That's interesting. Kind of adds this weird texture. Don't really like it though. Make this one bigger. This is kind of a nice brush. Kind of adds, see, some little bit of texture like that. Some thicker lines, or even you can make it smaller and make some thinner lines. Okay, so I think the flat bristle brushes are probably the best for abstract. Some of the rollers are interesting for abstract as well. You can add some interesting texture here and there, like that right there. Maybe add a little bit of texture right up in here. Right, that's too much. There we go. Like going back and forth with a couple texture brushes just add some interesting different textures. So I can take this like more whiter color. Wait, how come it's not painting white though? It's painting dark. Huh. I'm not sure why that brush works that way. No, I don't really like that. Lines. Lines are kind of cool. Just like very lightly. I don't know if I want that much movement. Nah, that's too much. Let's see, we got some color modes. That's kind of interesting. Adds some interesting effects. Might leave that right there. circles, saturation. No. Sometimes blending can be fun. You can add some interesting shape with some of the blenders. This one kind of has a rake effect to it, so we can just kind of pull. Some of that's too much though. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. See the effect that adds? You can just kind of break up everything and make some area look super abstract like that. That's interesting. I like that. Whatever that one's called. Let's see here. What else do we got? I kind of like that, like adding just a few little particles like that. Oh, there we go. So this one adds, you can add like a rain really fast with this. See how it kind of adds this kind of rain effect? Let's go back darker. I kind of like that. I'm gonna leave some of that in there, I think. That's kind of cool. I like that too. This adds kind of like a it's like ink splat effect. So this is good like if you just want to take your paint and throw it on the canvas, and you can kind of just get some nice splat. And so doing this a couple times, in a couple spots, you can get maybe some dark down here. There we go. Some light up there. Cool. That adds a little bit of interestingness to it. Let's go back to these are double brushes. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go back to flat bristle brushes here. That one's I kind of like that one. That one's cool. I'm trying to find that one. Which one was that? It was really nice rake brush. Can't remember what it was called now. That's it right there, I think. Alright, I'm just add a few. There we go. I think that's it. Now I'm gonna go back to my abstract brush is pretty awesome though. You can add a lot of different shapes with this thing. You can kind of turn it a little bit, and you can add more lines like that. You can kind of adjust the size of the line. I really want to keep that brightness right in here. This is where I wanted all right in here, that kind of bright feeling. So now I'm feeling of movement, and sometimes, brushwork, just some lines will be what's necessary to get that across. And there we go. So it kind of has an overall feeling to it, but it's definitely abstract, and that gives me that overall feeling of the Civil War. That's kind of the feeling I wanted to convey right there. Adds all the colors I wanted in it, has the emotion and feeling I want it. I'm gonna call that done. I like to sign with like a pen or something, so there's pens here. Let's use this one. Let's see here. Actually, I'm gonna sign with a pencil. Some of the pencils are nice. Yeah, there we go. I'll sign with that one. I usually zoom into a corner, pick my favorite color, which is fuchsia. That's what I like to sign with. And then put 19. Go back to view the full size here. There's the full painting. Cool. So I think now I might do another live stream for a Bob Ross style like quick snow scene, really easy quick snow scene that I was working on for my Bob Ross course. I'm gonna go ahead and save this though. So save as JPEG. Go to my paintings. Go to my abstracts. And we'll call it Civil War. There we go. New file, same size. So basically, what I might do, might start in a different stream. I might close this one out and then start a new one. If I do, it's going to be something based on snow. So we can start with this kind of color right here. We can add a cool little snow scene. Alright, so that's it for this one. So that was how to do a quick Civil War abstract, and those are some of the thoughts that go through my head and how I try to convey that feeling. Hopefully that helps you work out your own abstracts. Don't try to focus so much on what you want it to look like. Focus on how you want it to feel, and keep all the painting principles in the back of your mind when you're doing it. You know, how shapes juxtapose together, you know, not to add just 3 shapes that are exact same size. All the different things I teach in my backgrounds course. So go to my website, which is masterpaintingnow.com. I'll go and bring that up again. And then go to my art courses. So I have a couple different art courses here that'll help you get on your path here. So this one here, the fundamentals of drawing anything, absolutely important to be able to paint as well. So it's the fundamentals of painting and drawing. Actually, that drawing foundation is necessary for other things. Anatomy course is great for figure drawing. I don't have it. Where's my other one on here? So if you go to my other Udemy courses here, I have one for backgrounds called. So right now this is how many students I have. 63,000 paying students. And let's see here, the one that I'm thinking of is how to draw and color backgrounds. So this is actually super important for this course right here. Is super important also for painting. This goes through all the fundamental stuff you need for painting and drawing, whatever, whether it's comic books or doing a master painter or doing Bob Ross style paintings. It gives you the fundamentals of composition, and composition is absolutely important for all this kind of stuff, and that's what you think about when you do abstracts. So definitely go check that out. Alright, so I think I might be right back, so if you want to come right back to the next stream, I'm going to do a quick live stream and do a snow scene, I think, Bob Ross style. So see you in a second.